Firecracker. But
How do you do this shit again?
I'm sorry I didn't trust you. I promise I won't pull guns on anyone anymore. I'm sorry I didn't trust you. It's me, Meche. This isn't funny. I'm in here.
Are the 3 stripes on the back of Manny's head, is that hair?
No, it's just a lazy design element to match the front of his head.
Oh, and the tops of his hands, remember? There's
Yeah,
little stripes
Just
on
the
there.
Day of the Dead decoration.
I never knew what it was, I just thought it was cool.
It's an Adidas homage.
What's the guts here? Ooh, I hate that sound. I can't move those by hand. I need this wheel. Must be a combination lock, but there are no numbers on it. Poor Don was never good with numbers. I guess I didn't enter the right combination. I don't want to mess up my blade. I don't want to mess up my... Stay. All right, Mitchie, you can come out now. Mitchie?
Oh, fuck off. Again?
Uh-oh. Oh, Raul. I am so sorry.
There was the elevator in my dorm that you could push open while it was moving. You push the gate open and freeze it in between floors and hang out in the elevator for no reason. But there was a little strip of metal up in the corner that the door would plug into when it was closed to know that it was closed. And we tried to get the elevator moving with the door open by sticking our fingers in this thing trying to trigger the little switch. I totally got electrocuted because it was like a live actual electrical current in there instead of
ouch.
So that's where that comes from. that little door closing thing, yeah.
From ill-advised college
Ill-advised,
activity?
drunken college dorm elevator near-death pranks. There was a
Hey, this is my room. Go use up the air in your own room.
It's funny that the casting of Manny was it was tough because you know, obviously you have I wanted to hire somebody who was legitimately Hispanic and not somebody putting on a fake accent.
right. Oh, for sure.
And normally in the sort of the casting process, you'd sit down with the project leader and you'd probably have 5 to 10 candidates that you'd be looking at, and with Manny we had 2, and Tony was more Humphrey Bogart, and the other actor was more comedic, and I was terrified that Tim was going to go the comedic route because I thought Tony was the guy, and I remember printing out resumes for the 2 guys, and Tony had a lot more experience, and then there was a really cool picture of Tony taken from Havana where he's sitting up at the bar and he just looked cool.
Yeah.
And I made sure that went in too, and so just to help kind of push it in the direction I wanted it to go.
It's the perfect voice.
Yeah, it's great.
Esa cosa. After you.
What a...
Forget them. They're counterfeit. They wouldn't fit through this hole anyway. Let's go. Okay.
What boat? Okay.
Where am I gonna get him? I bet Gladys would know.
The animation team was very green, and we're lucky to work under people like Pete and some other senior folks on the team, like Eric Ingerson and Mark Hamer. We came out of school. The animation team was very green, and we're about to work under people like Pete and some other senior folks on the team, like Eric Ingerson and Mark Hamer. We came out of school learning traditionally 2D animation and probably had about a month or two of work on Monkey Island 3, I think, which was still semi-traditional. And then this was our first kind of interaction with 3D and computers, and we struggled and watched Eric do the most complex things you can imagine.
It was all very new. I think we had a couple of consulting sessions. This was back when we were still kind of connected to ILM, and so we had Kyle Balda, was a LucasArts alum and at the time worked at ILM. He came over and gave us some 3D pointers at a couple of points. We had some special private sessions.
All that water is running in the Rebel Salt engine. The game is running in the Jedi Knight engine, and
oh, that's right.
all the stream video is from the Rebel Salt engine.
That is right.
So we're compositing Rebel Salt technology on top of Jedi Knight technology, and then all the Lua scripting for the gameplay is what comprised the Grime engine, which we never actually called the Grime engine at the time, but Brett wanted to call it the Grime engine. And later he's been able to do enough interviews where he's called it the Grime engine. People just call it the Grime engine. And that's fine. It should have a name.
Everything should.
I can't even imagine what was going through his head at this point, because just the size of this game.
I can see why they don't give...
I can't even imagine what was going through his head at this point, because just the size of this game. Being able to absorb it all before it's realized.
He always had a really good idea of where we were and what was going on. And we were talking earlier about how there really wasn't a schedule that I remember, an art schedule for this game. It almost seemed like we just all sort of chose tasks, and then we had Leslie sort of following up to make sure we were doing them in about as much time as they should take, or not getting bogged down or stuff.
This whole environment, I think, was worked on around the end of the game. You have to bring it through an artist at the end in order to get it all done.
Yeah. And then I kind of remember that towards the end, because it was just like a skeleton crew, because I think just the budget had gotten so big that I just remember Pete and a few other people working on it for a couple months or something.
Yeah.
While all of us had to move on to other projects.
This is where people nowadays.
one of the things that was another technical problem that was really interesting was the save load, because I wanted to cut a bunch of corners on save load to just make it a little easier to implement. And we had talked about things like you could only save and load, or when you load, it would load at the beginning of a room and back up content a little bit, or just do it convenient. And Tim really wanted a really high fidelity save load. I remember trying to talk him out of it, and he threw the gauntlet down. He was like, if Manny's in the middle of a line and there's a puff of smoke hanging in the air, and I hit save, when he restores, he should pick up in the middle of that line where he was at, and that puff of smoke should be in the air. And I was like, all right, man, that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. And it was a big pain. It took a lot of work to get it there. So that's the way the game shipped, and that's kind of, with controls and things like that. Tim was pretty uncompromising and had a vision of what he wanted this thing to be. And as much as we were able, we gave him what he wanted.
This is where people nowadays would be like, Tim, the ideas you have here about this conveyor belt where you can switch directions and rip a chain with a scoop, it's really complicated. We could eliminate a lot of work if we just cut this one puzzle. This is where people nowadays would be like, Tim, the ideas you have here about this conveyor belt where you can switch directions and rip a chain with a scoop, it's really complicated. We could eliminate a lot of work if we just cut this one puzzle. This is like, no, we went all the way and we fully implemented exactly what I hoped would happen. The conveyor belt would reverse direction, the chain would go up and down, Manny would climb down and against the source of water, bunch up the chain. It's all so complicated. Oh, and you create a little loop. I was like, this all makes sense in my mind, so the player will be able to figure this out. Like the way that you looped it over that boat. I don't even know if that would work. That's like, it's like when you whip a hose to like get it uncaught when you're watering the plants in the backyard. And the hose is bad.
Right, yeah. And do a little whiplash effect, yeah.
One thing that was a little weird on animating all this underwater stuff, when you animated a little section like Manny jumping off the conveyor belt, or climbing up a chain, or getting dragged along by a boat or whatever, you would always try to add that element of the physics of being underwater, and then seeing the harsh contrast of when you're back in interactive mode and we're still using the same animation of him walking above water. It was hard for an animator to get over that. These little things you can't let go of.
You would have had to do a whole new set of animals.
Yes. And that, well, the other thing is, like, that may not have been the thing that would have stopped something like that. It could have even been like, there would be too much code required to switch a system or something. Like, who knows what the reason was.